Morning. Good morning. I'd like to call the Forest Preserve District of Will County Board of Commissioners meeting today, Thursday, June 13th at 9:00, digital 9:02. Can we have a roll call, please?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's say what?
Pledge.
Pledge. Pledge of Allegiance. Mark Revis, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. You know what? If we all could remain standing, Raquel's going to lead us in a prayer.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us all here today in good health and in good spirits. We want to thank you for allowing us to serve the people of Will County. We ask that you bless our words, bless our hearts, so that we may understand each other and that we may speak to each other with respect and the love that you ask us to do. Dear Lord, thank you. And for those who are not able to make it today, please look after them. And with that, I say amen.
And thank you. All right, now can we have a roll call? Oh, my goodness. All right. I want to get this meeting done, I think. All right. Introduction of the news media. We have Nick Ryer from Farmers Weekly Review and Bob O'Con from the Herald News. Welcome. Anyone else? All right. Roll call,
Okay.
please.
All right. Dean Schlotman, Van Dyne, Ogala, Pretzel, Butler, Newquist, Balich, Richmond, Williams, Diaz, Winfrey, Coleman, Logan, Freeman, Revis, Mitchell here, Ortiz, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Trainier, and President Parker.
Here.
With that, we have 15. We have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, and we move on to approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion? Motion by Dean Schlotman, second by Williams. What?
We need to back up. First, we have the presentation.
Oh, okay.
Just note it for the record.
Okay, I skipped over presentation of certificate of mailing and certificate of publication. Oh, good, thank you.
Now we need a motion for approval of the minutes for the 24 regular meeting.
All right,
To do each separate.
can I get a motion approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 9th, 2024?
Motion, Revis. Second, Richmond.
Motion Revis, second Richmond, all in favor?
No.
No.
Roll call vote.
Oh, you're right. Roll call.
I have her. Thank you. We're ready?
Yes.
It's all good. Dean Schlotman. Van Dyne. Ogala. Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Balich. Richmond. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell, yes. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Trainier. President Parker.
Yes.
16. Motion passes.
16 in favor, motion passes. All right, now can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes for the public hearing on June 6, 2024? Motion Dean Schlotman, second by Butler. Previous roll. Newquist, second by Mueller, all in favor? Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, can I get a motion? I'd like to move item Z of the presentation of awards to move that above, move that next. Can I get a motion? Thank you.
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Dean Schlotman. Van Dyne. Ogala. Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Balich. Richmond. Williams. Diaz, Winfrey, Coleman, Logan, Freeman, Revis, Mitchell, yes, Ortiz, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Trainier, President Parker,
Yes,
18.
thank you. 18 and
17. That's needed 17.
17 in favor, motion carries. We have to do all in favor.
We're good.
All right, then we'll move on to presentation of awards. Ralph, if you want
Sure.
to take that over.
Thank you. Our first award is Volunteer of the Year of 2023. This award goes to an individual who best displays all of the attributes that we look for in a volunteer. Many hours worked, a willingness to grow, and high quality work are all aspects that we find in this individual. This is the district's most prestigious volunteer award, and I had an opportunity a few weeks back to present this in person at our volunteer banquet. The winner of the 2023 Volunteer of the Year is Sally Wyclaw. Sally has been a volunteer since 2000 and is currently the steward at Messenger Woods. She's been instrumental in many projects that preserve the incredible plants and animals that call Will County home. In 2001, Sally became one of several butterfly monitors at Hickory Creek Barrens, which requires many trips on site each season to record the butterfly species that are encountered. Sally also has extensive knowledge of local plants and is always willing to help with the identification and special needs of those. In the early spring, Sally is out at Messenger Woods treating garlic mustard and organizing fellow volunteers to help cover the vast areas that need control. Sally also monitors the rare blue-eyed Mary plants as well as protecting the small and uncommon populations of Michigan lily from deer browse. Sally has been instrumental in many of the smaller work groups hosted at both Hickory Creek Barrens and LaPorte Road Access. Those small work groups include brush cutting, burning brush piles, and foliar treatment of some of the most troublesome of our invasive forbs. Sally is also a core prescribed burn volunteer who regularly helps the crew ensure that the burns can be easily accomplished safely. She has a great working knowledge of what needs to be done and how, and is often asked to mentor new crew members. If you ever work alongside or volunteer alongside Sally, you may even receive a donation from her of a protein snack or Gatorade. So at this time, I'd like to invite Sally to come down. And on behalf of the district and all of our staff, we really do thank you for all your work. We're going to do this. We got one more. Sure. Okay. Our next presentation is the Nature Foundation of Will County and Tara Neff.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to see everyone. My name is Tara Neff. I'm the Executive Director of the Nature Foundation of Will County, and I'm here today to present a check to the Forest Preserve District of Will County to support your priorities that protect nature, inspire discovery, and bring people and nature together. So highlighting some of the programs that the Nature Foundation is supporting. If you had not yet already heard, the Forest Preserve District's Take It Outside Challenge is an award-winning program now. It received the Forest Preserve and Conservation section of the Illinois Park and Recreation Association's Outstanding Environmental Education Program. These challenges get people outside. They get to explore the Forest Preserve District's preserves and facilities throughout our vast county. And the participants have all reported really tremendous benefits to engaging in these challenges, including improved physical and mental health, stronger relationships with their friends and family, and a deeper, more meaningful connection to our natural world. The Nature Foundation supported this initiative with unrestricted funds from our very generous individual donors. And so too are the same donors who are funding the installation of bicycle racks throughout the county so that our bicycle enthusiasts can keep their wheels on the ground and maybe a little more secure. Thanks to a grant the Nature Foundation received from Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's Outdoor Fund, we were able to support fish stocking at Hidden Lake Trout Farm. And it provides a lot of fish for the wildly popular fishing derbies, of which adults angled it out on May 4th. We'll have kids derby on June 29th, and then all ages are invited to the summer send-off on September 21st. To carry out the goals of a new visitor center to the very high standards of the Forest Preserve District of Will County, a lot has and is happening at Hidden Oaks Nature Center. So the Nature Foundation was also able to secure a grant from the Sergeant Thomas M. Gilbert Memorial Foundation so that we could purchase educational supplies and equipment that are necessary to support our outdoor education, public programs, and community outreach. Now a little self-promotion. The Nature Foundation is happy to kick off our donor appreciation series in partnership with the Forest Preserve District. The first one is tomorrow at Whalen Lake. It's from 5 to 7, and we hope some of you will be able to join us there. You're also invited to register online for the Nature Foundation's first ever native plant garden tour, which is featuring 8 gardens in the communities of New Lenox, Joliet, Mokina, and Homer Glen. If you've ever wondered about how to go about incorporating native plants on your landscape, this is an excellent opportunity to go see and have informal conversations. And finally, you can register online to join the Nature Foundation and all of your other favorite nature nerds at our Summer Blooms Gathering. That's Friday, August 2nd. Your registration gets you access to some beverages, and some live entertainment, and also pre-sale access to the pop-up native plant sale that occurs the next day on Saturday. So we've been working really hard to support all of the Forest Preserve District offerings that make Will County a great place to live, work, and play. And with that, I'll be back in September to give you more updates about how we're working to help support you. And with that, I'd like to present this check in the amount of $33,400 to the Forest Preserve District of Will County.
Our next presentation is Anthony Cervini with Sikich, who will give you a brief overview of the audit which was placed in front of you today. And Anthony should be online. Okay.
I am. Good morning, Ralph. Thank you, everyone. You able to hear me okay? Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. As Ralph noted, I'm here to present the 2023 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report or Audit for the district. Appreciate the opportunity to be here with you this morning. Highlighting a few items for you. The district, in accordance with the Illinois compiled statute, is required to undergo an annual audit. District has chosen to prepare what's referred to as an Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, or ACFR, which is a document that goes above and beyond what is required to be presented from both the compiled statute standpoint, as well as above and beyond what is required by generally accepted accounting principles. The Annual Comprehensive Report is broken into 3 sections, the first of which is the introductory section. Within the introductory section, a few items just to call to your attention. On page Roman numeral 1, if you're following along, you'll find district letterhead, the transmittal letter. Transmittal letter is a unique component within a audited financial statement. It's a chance for management to look at what's happened throughout the course of the year, provide some subjective discussion, as well as also taking a look towards future initiatives and future events at the district as ongoing and future projects that will impact the financial statements. Recommend looking at the transmittal letter in conjunction with the management's discussion and analysis, which I'll cover in just a few moments. Also within the introductory section is the Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This is for the district's annual comprehensive financial report for the year ended December 31st, 2022. Every year, the district submits its annual comprehensive financial report, or ACFR, to the GFOA for review by members of its special review committee, as well as members of GFOA's technical staff, to ensure that all the required components of the audit and in this document are included. So I want to commend you for receipt of the GFOA Certificate of Achievement. The next section is the financial section. This is the traditional section of the audited financial statements here. The first component is the Independent Auditor's Report. Independent Auditor's Report, pleased to present this morning a clean, unmodified opinion on the district's financial statements as of and for your fiscal year ended December 31st, 2023. That clean, unmodified opinion is the highest level of assurance as auditors that we can provide. It means the financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Again, congratulate you on receiving the unmodified opinion. Also within the financial section, there's a separate report this year. The district did expend greater than $750,000 in federal funds, so a separate audit in accordance with government auditing standards was required. Pleased to note in this report that we've issued, again, a clean opinion on this. No material weaknesses or significant deficiencies were noted during the course of our audit, nor did we note any instances of non-compliance. So again, a clean report from the federal spending standpoint as well. I mentioned earlier the management's discussion and analysis, or MD&A. This is the executive summary within the annual comprehensive financial report. If you're looking at nothing else, if you're talking to constituents or others that may have an interest in the district's financial position or changes in financial position for the year, strongly encourage you to direct them to the management's discussion and analysis. This includes key information from both the 2023 financial statements as well as the 2022 financial statements. But most valuable, in my opinion, is the fact that management has the opportunity to explain why those figures change from one year to the next. So it takes those numbers and provides some nice context to them. Moving past the MD&A pages, you get to the basic financial statements, the first of which can be found on pages 7 and 8, the statement of net position. Statement of net position includes all of the long-term investments as well as long-term liabilities of the district here. So your capital assets, your long-term debt, things of that nature there. The important piece to look at, though, is on page 8. This is your net position or your equity section as of December 31st, 2023. The district is able to present positive balances in all categories. So your net investment in capital assets, your various restricted categories, as well as a positive unrestricted net position as well. This is indicative of sound financial management of the district, that you're doing a good job managing the resources that you do have. Pages 10 and 11 present the balance sheet for governmental funds. This will be more in line with what you see on a month in, month out basis, looking at your fund structure here. So your general fund, as well as your other major funds, debt service, construction and development, your 2019 bond, and then your non-major governmental funds in the second to last column, total column on the far right here. Looking at your general fund, had unassigned fund balance of $11.8 million, a very healthy fund reserve or reserve in your general fund there. Balances, all positive in your other fund categories as well there. Again, indicative of that sound financial management. Operationally, on pages 13 and 14, you'll see the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for those funds. So you will see, again, the same fund presentation here. Your overall net change in fund balance increased for the district as a whole, just under 1.47 million. You did have some transfers out, drawing down your general fund balance slightly. Those transfers out did go for capital purposes there. So just something to note there as you budgeted for and planned for there. But again, very strong fund balances as of December 31st, 2023 as well. Finally, just highlighting for you the district's retiree health insurance trust fund or your other post-employment benefit funds here. You'll see gathering up there's 8 years of data presented on this schedule here. The bottom line on page 55 presents your net OPEB liability here. 2023 at its lowest amount, just under 975,000. We're telling you that you're about 77% funded on that. A very healthy funded ratio for a retiree health insurance trust fund. The district also presents its IMRF and sheriff's law enforcement personnel funds, which are also solidly funded. For defined benefit pension plans to be in the ratio where you're at, you're well positioned on that. All in all, just would like to again thank the district for the opportunity to work with you, to thank Ralph, Lisa, Meredith, and the team for their efforts and responsiveness throughout the course of the audit. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Mark has a question. Mr. Revis.
Oh, my mic's on. Okay. Thank you for presenting this. My question has to do with page 30 in the financial section. It says at the near the bottom, right before employee retirement systems, legal debt margin, 580,174,445. So that's like what our debt capacity is, how much debt we are legally allowed to carry at one given point.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Thank you.
All right, Jackie.
And just what is our current debt level right now?
Was the question, what is the current debt level right now, just to confirm?
Yes.
I want to make sure. What
So yeah, you can see on page 30 there. So the limit is 580 million. You have general obligation bonds as of December 31st, 2023 that were 56.3 million.
So we owe less than 10% of what we're allowed to bond out for.
That would be correct.
Seems like a good number to me. Yeah.
All right, any other questions? I don't see any, so I want to thank you for your presentation. Ralph, do you have anything more?
Thank you very much.
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to the treasurer's report. Commissioner Newquist.
Sorry about that. Good morning, everybody. The treasurer's report for this morning. Revenues, the May 31st, 2024 operating statements indicate the district's corporate fund has collected $1.29 million in total revenues, and that includes approximately $488,777 in property taxes, $230,613 in replacement taxes, and nearly $250,000 in licenses and permit fees. The remaining balance is attributable to other miscellaneous income. On the expenditure side, if I can turn my page here. On the expenditure side, the district has incurred approximately $7.62 million of expenditures for the period ended May 31st, 2024. Approximately $4.31 million of these expenditures are personnel costs. The district has experienced a net operating loss of just over $6.33 million year to date, including all budgeted transfers. Unless there are any questions, I move to place the treasurer's report on file.
All right, moved by Newquist, second by Freeman. Second by Trinier, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, moving on to petitions from the public. Do we have any?
Yes, we do.
All right.
I just have to get to them. We have 104 public comments that were submitted online between last Thursday and this morning. Helping me out today is Colleen Novander, our Director of Land Preservation and Planning. First up, we have DB Cooped. DB Cooped. Please do not spend money we don't have. Most of us are barely scraping by, and every dollar you spend on a 10-year bond will cost us $2.01. Your request is like asking for 100 million. Stop spending. It is not your money. You have to raise it from the overburdened taxpayer already. The state, county, and Fed took 56% of my income across all taxes, not including fees and fuel taxes. That is insane. I don't work to put money in my pocket until July 10th each year now. You guys take everything up to that date. It's time to start saying no. This is from Orange Monster 99. We are totally against having any more fees attached to our taxes in the state. We do not wish to receive any more penalties for choosing Illinois as our home. If the vote to approve this Forest Preserve $50 million bond goes through and you are discouraging people from living here. Regarding the June 13th meeting, that you are opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. This one also comes from Orange Monster, and it is a repeat of the one prior to that. Then we have Syed Shabuddin. Hello, this is in regard to the June 13th meeting. I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. Please do not tax the common man. We already are suffering with the tax burden that we have. We don't need any additional obligations. The next is from Elvis de la Puente. This is regarding the June 13th meeting. I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. I mean, are you crazy? My wife and I sacrificed to make sure that we can live and raise our children in a good community, and you guys are sitting over there reaching into the pockets and pockets of taxpayers and take more and more from us. It's also easy for you to sit there and vote to put me into debt for something I didn't even ask for. This is why I left Cook County, and now you guys want to do the same garbage down here. Instead of dreaming up new ways to take our money, why don't you work with the money that you already took from us and enrich our community? You need to learn to do what taxpayers do, live within your means. This next is from Kathleen Barg of Plainfield. I am against the issuance of tax bonds because it is $50 million plus interest that the taxpayer will be responsible to pay back in property taxes. Dawn Baker, I am opposed to the $50 million bond purchase being proposed. I am a taxpayer in Will County. Tisha Haley, or Holly, I am writing to share my request that the vote for the June 13th meeting be against the bond exceeding $50 million for the Will County Forest Preserve. Our property taxes are astronomical and our community cannot sustain these levels of tax hikes. Janice Paul of Naperville, I am writing to express my extreme displeasure with the Forest Preserve's decision to add $50 million in taxpayer obligation bonds to our already high tax burdens despite many objections from the public, which you are supposed to serve. Please reconsider this costly and unnecessary decision. The next comes from Mike and Ange 91. In time when county taxpayers are struggling with bills across the board, adding on even more debt, you should not be considered, especially when it's only a wish list. We as taxpayers need some real help, not more debt taken on at this time. Please consider what you are doing. It will only hurt us taxpayers who can barely stay above water. This is simply a want, not a need. Our household has had to make real sacrifices. It is time for the district to do the same, at least until this economy gets better. Barbara Bates from Naperville, to whom it may concern, my husband and I are retired. Our property tax bill this year increased $1,000. Now there is word that you are planning the issuance of a $50 million tax bond that we, the taxpayers, will be responsible for. You are pushing people out of the state. It's a shame. Don't you care about the needs of our community and our financial struggles? Things couldn't get much worse than this. Carol Murphy, vote no. Kim Busick, I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. Will County has the highest taxes around and you want more, just like the Oswego School District, who have $400,000 salaries and massive issues and poor performance. Kevin Lepasic of Joliet, we are opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. Emily Perna, I am writing to let the board know that as a member of the community of Plainfield, I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. I am taxed enough, and this should not be the taxpayer's responsibility for such a purchase at this time. Times are very taxing, and this will drive people out of the community. Todd Owings of Plainfield. With regard to the June 13th meeting, the proposed issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million, I am opposed and urge the board to vote against this proposal. Government must tighten its belt, and this debt issuance is not necessary. I am a registered voter who has participated in almost every election. John Davis, as a taxpayer in Will County, I rise in objection to the proposed bond sale, even though the information being sent out says that the bond would only raise property taxes by $9 on a $300,000 house. Taxes would really drop without it since the bonds are being paid off now. I don't think the Forest Preserve is used by a very high percentage of the citizens in the county, and we can't afford more taxes. Joe Urban, representatives of the people, I am completely against your acquisition of more land at the tune of $50 million. Why in the world would you ever consider such an insane expenditure? How are the people of Will benefiting from your extravagances, and why would you in complete ignorance of your fiduciary responsibility to all the people of Will? No insane spending. It's remarkable that officials are entrusted to do the right thing, but somehow never understand the cost of money and continue with insane spending. For God's sakes, where's your brain? The casual observer knows that what you are doing is not good and not right for the people. Why only, oh boy, this goes on and on. Why is only one of you in the entire group conscious about spending? For you failed the people. We, the people, never signed up for you, the people, to burn our money. $50 million over 20 years plus interest, a sick joke. Get your heads out of your donkeys. It's his words, not mine. Our revert this catastrophe. Do the right thing. Arlene O'Hearn, excuse me, I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds. John Sullivan, stop spending taxpayer money. Do not issue $50 million bond. You are taxing me out of Will County. And Jim Stevens, I am all for the increase for the Forest Preserve District of Will County. Please help fund this group.
The next comment is from Jerry Blank. I am against the tax for the 13th. James and Nancy Wheeler from Romeoville. I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. Overspending that costs us taxpayers is getting out of hand. In a time when we the people are struggling to make ends meet, you dip into the pockets and make it even harder for us to pay our bills. Please reconsider this and cancel this decision to do what will hurt the people of Will County and their livelihood. Grace Shrub. I am against this unnecessary proposal for the $50 million project. Taxpayers do not need more of their hard-earned monies relegated to the spending measures this large and, with the living costs so high now, totally unacceptable. Please reverse or put on hold this unwarranted spending. John Fisher of Plainfield. I have become aware that the board is considering a $50 million tax bond for the Forest Preserve District of Will County. This comment is for the June 13th meeting, and I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. This is an example of government overreach, and I disagree with this issuance. You have been elected by the people of Will County to thoughtfully spend our tax dollars. Please reconsider this measure. This is from John Santiago. We registered voters of the Santiago household of Bolingbrook, Illinois, opposed the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds of $50 million. Should board members ignore our position on this, we will certainly make an effort to vote out members of the board that do not support our interests. Judith Human. I have been paying taxes to Will County since 1977, and I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million for the Forest Reserve. Mary Stenisna. I'm opposed to this increase. This is totally optional for the Forest Reserve. You are forcing people out of their homes. No for my vote. This is from JCats223. I am not paying for it. No way I can afford it myself. This is from Dan West. To whom it may concern, I am strongly against the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. Elected officials need to start listening to the will of the people that they are sworn to represent. This and all unnecessary spending are directly impacting the lives of those in the Will County area and resulting in higher property taxes and making things more difficult than they already are. Listen to the will of the people. This needs to be addressed ASAP. He might go 6933. I am opposed to the tax bill of $50 million to the property tax. You will be pushing people out of their homes, i.e. the retired community. Judith Latch. We are opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million that is being considered at the June 13th meeting. Tomaris Woods. In the time of higher inflation, I ask that the committee hold off on the proposed $50 million bond. Events like live golf tour should be a benefit to our bottom line. Figure out how to reduce our costs, not increase. This one is from Wen Zhang of Bolingbrook. Hi, I have been a Will County resident for more than 10 years now. I will attend the June 13th meeting, and I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. Next is from Greg Colby of Plainfield. This is a comment for the June 13th meeting. I am writing to let you know that I am completely against the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. This is wasteful government spending that will be placed on the backs of an already highly overtaxed populace. From William Buckley. This comment is for the June 13th meeting and that I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. From Diane Hayden. We are against passing the $50 million bill since it's not necessary. This is scheduled for your June meeting. Rowan and Diane of Plainfield. This is from Greg Markleses of Plainfield. It's for the June 13th meeting. I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. From Maribel Cabrera, I am writing to notify the board that I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. From Patty Bowles of Naperville, hello, I am writing to you concerning the June 13th meeting, and I am strongly opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. I am opposed to the issuance of bonds because it is $50 million plus interest that us property owners will be responsible to pay in property taxes. Our taxes are already unaffordable. People are already leaving Illinois in droves. I urge you to listen to your constituents. The next is from Karen Fox of Plainfield. I would like to voice my support for the $50 million bond issue under consideration that would allow the Forest Preserve District to move ahead with land acquisition and improvements. I have lived here for 30 years and have enjoyed the improvements made by Hamel Woods and Rock Run Preserve. This is a win for the taxpayers, and those that think otherwise might have been misinformed. The next one's from Jenny Rodriguez of Shorewood. Dear Sir or Madam, my family and I strongly oppose the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. This statement is in reference to the June 13th meeting. The next is from Tom. I'm solidly against the June 13th meeting about the issuance of bonds because it is $50 million plus interest that the taxpayer will be responsible to pay back in the form of property taxes. This one is from Joan Reski of Bolingbrook. Please be advised that I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds. I am against the issuance of bonds because it is $50 million plus interest that the taxpayer will be responsible to pay back in the form of property taxes. Will County taxes are out of control. Three more.
Okay.
This one is from Mary Dinawellis. We are both totally against the unnecessary $50 million tax bond. We are retired and living on our Social Security. We are being taxed out of our home. Enough is enough. This one is from Rocio Atenco. I strongly oppose to the $50 million expense for that forest preserve. It is such a waste of money. We don't want to be responsible to pay off that debt. And this is from Randall Lukey, and it just has the message line on the June 13th issue for $50 million for the forest preserve. I am opposed to this unnecessary spending.
Carl Sass, to whom it may concern, I am formally opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. From Coke Mahoney, I am strongly opposed to the general obligation $50 million tax bond. Given the economy, we should be looking for ways to reduce taxes. People are canceling planned vacations because of the cost of food and gasoline. What are you thinking? Do you live in a bubble? Dennis and Deborah Smith, we oppose the Will County Forest Preserve bond. Margaret Harris Lawler, I am totally against the issuance of bonds for the Forest Preserve project. It is $50 million, including interest that the taxpayer will be responsible to pay back in the form of property taxes. Currently, our property taxes are out of control and barely manageable. Many of us seniors facing retirement. We can't afford this. As a taxpayer, I am against this and do not want it. Anita Matichik, I vote no on the June 13th meeting, even considering us taxpayers to be burdened further. Taxes are getting out of control, and I feel this is why. This proposal should be on the ballot to let people decide on how our money is spent. Karen Fonte and Tom Hagman, we wholeheartedly support the proposed bond issue. The Forest Preserve District does great things for this county. We need to preserve as much open space as possible, and people need a place to escape urban congestion. A yes vote is for cleaner air, water infiltration, beauty, health, etc. As you probably know, all of the many benefits, we'll keep this short, and it isn't about increased costs, so it's a no-brainer. Please support this proposal. Thank you. Christy Garcia of Plainfield. I live in Will County, and I'm expressing that I am against the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. Our property taxes are high enough, and I do not want my tax dollars to increase even more based on this. This is from Tinoco. For the June 13th meeting, I am against the issuance of bonds because we will be paying back in the form of property taxes. So stop. Leslie Kruzich, in regards to the June 13th meeting, I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. Adriana Lopez, I oppose the Will County Forest Preserve referendum. Tammy Bandy, I am against the $50 million Forest Preserve tax bond. I am in enough bondage with taxes. The people of Joliet have told you no. Listen to those who voted you in. Mark Lundeen, I am opposed to the proposed issuance of $50 million plus interest for the general obligation tax bonds. Will County property taxpayers are overtaxed, and unnecessary government spending must stop. Paul Fish of Bolingbrook, Will County Forest Preserve Board members. I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. My tax bill already increased $1,000 from 2022 to 2023. While your portion is just a percentage of that, the overall effect is that what you are doing is pricing us out of our homes that we love. Your efforts would be better spent in trying to reduce your costs to the public and to maintain the current preserves in a more cost-efficient manner. Ron Dolnak, I am opposed to the $50 million of new spending for the Will County Forest Preserve. This is not the right time to increase taxes on homeowners experiencing historic inflation with no relief in sight. Paul Simons, please no more tax bonds. We can't afford it. Please stop it at the 6/13 meeting. My property taxes are already too high. Tony Trader. Prices are going up on everything, including property taxes. Inflation at the new record highs is up 31%. Stop the spending. Be frugal with the public's money. Everyone's jobs depend on it. I vote no. Kim Busick, I am voicing my opposition to the out-of-control spending by the Will County Forest Preserve Board. Our taxes are already too high, and even with my senior and homestead exemptions, they have increased $600 this past tax bill. These comments are intended for the June 13th meeting, and I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds. Geez, this is a long one. Hold on. This is from Robin S. I am writing as a concerned citizen of Plainfield who has for over a month now been seeing a number of deliberately incendiary, deceptive social media posts from Mark Revis regarding the proposed $50 million bond for the Forest Preserve District, pleading with citizens to write in opposition by warning that they'll otherwise face an increase in property taxes. For anyone willing to do any reading up on the matter, it's obvious that is untrue, but Mark has continued to push this narrative, claiming that all others on the committee intend to, quote, tax you out of your eyeballs. In spite of numerous people correcting him both on social media and among his colleagues, alongside this, he's shown himself willing to become shockingly condescending, passive-aggressive, and even outright derisive. It says derisive. Yeah, it's derisive with anyone who challenges his narrative, further emphasizing his unprofessional behavior. At this point, it's impossible to view this as anything but either gross incompetence or active malicious deception on the citizens he claims to support. This is an unacceptable behavior from a man who holds a place on the Forest Preserve District Finance Committee, and he has more than demonstrated an inability to perform his duties in a way that serves any benefit but building shallow political clout for himself. I've attached a zip file containing screenshots of just how a few of his recent social media posts and some of the comments with them. I apologize for the sheer quantity, but it needs to be made clear that this isn't a one-off mistake or a misunderstanding. This is a deliberate, long-standing pattern of misrepresentations, antagonism, and half-truths that he has no intention of stopping. Weaponizing social media with misleading posts meant to trick uninformed people into harassing his colleagues is unacceptable behavior, and I feel he should be removed from the Finance Committee as a result of this well-documented lack of competence or honesty. Robin Sparks. Deborah Salerno, this property taxes are out of control. I can't even afford the freeze and constantly worry that if I go over 65,000 because of little raises to Social Security, I won't be able to afford my home. I have never been this broke ever, having to save for taxes and then only 3 months to pay the other half is ridiculous. To Deuce Coy, please stop robbing citizens for their money. Their property taxes are way too high already. The Emlers, Sue Emler, I can't stress enough my opposition to this reckless spending we continue to forward in Illinois. We have our children graduating from college and not being able to afford even rent in the area they grew up. Being in real estate since 1994, it continues to infuriate me how much disregard our government continues to hurt their constituents with their policies. It's shameful. New poll, 95% of Will County voters think it's important for local candidates to have a plan to address property taxes. Majority of voters oppose the Will County Forest Preserve District issuance. Ralph Trevino, please repeal this tax increase. We're already getting overwhelmed from all of these taxes. Jay Revis, I am completely against this additional spending. My property taxes were up 13% on my last bill. It makes no sense to spend 50 million more when what you need to be doing is getting spending under control. For those of you who keep saying it's a small increase, it's a $50 million plus interest. Any increase at this point is too much. I want to see some tax relief. Jim Revis. Peggy Barrera. Peggy Barrera, my comment is intended for the June 13th meeting, and I state that I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds. The game you play is never in the taxpayer's best interest, as there is never an end game as promised. You can't keep squeezing lower and middle class. The limit has been reached. School districts and park districts will also be learning this lesson if they haven't already. Perhaps you can do your own fundraising, but the easy handouts are done. Susan Griffin, vote no on the $50 million bond for the Will County Forest Preserves. We don't need another property tax hike.
This is Dave and Mary Christ. Please be advised that we are opposed to the 50 million tax hike being proposed at your June 13th board meeting. Our property tax increased 16% this year. Thank you for your time. This is from Joseph Fabuski. I'm in. This is from Nicole Serbin, William Frankenberger, and Linda Frankenberger. This public comment is intended for the June 13th meeting. We strongly support the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds and appreciate what the bonds will provide to Will County. Signed, the residents of 11900 Stephanie Lane, Mokina, Illinois. This is from Michael Hennessy. As a Will County resident taxpayer, I strongly oppose the issuance of 50 million general obligation limited tax bonds at the Will County Forest Preserve. Property taxes are already too high. Please present this opposition email on June 13th. The next is from Sean Adams of Naperville. Please note my family's opposition to the Will County Forest Preserve's bond issuance. Appreciate the Forest Preserve and best for our community if 50 million bond issuance does not happen. The Forest Preserve should concentrate on managing current holdings during the current economic challenges, not expansion of debt, additional liabilities that ultimately fall on us taxpayers. This is from Airman 42434. I oppose the above general obligation bond referendum. By voting for it, you will no doubt increase another tax on Will County homeowners who, as Illinois residents, endured the second highest property tax burden in the United States of America. Enough, seriously enough. This is from Christina Mancunis, requesting Mark Revis, Republican from Plainfield, to be removed from the Finance Committee for misleading Will County residents about the bond issuance for his own political 15 minutes of fame. His position has no merit, as Will County residents will pay less than current to the Forest Preserve District once the current bonds are retired, as detailed in the Tribune article. For homeowners in the county with a home valued at $300,000, the estimated $9 difference in the taxes paid if the levy is approved versus if it is denied is inconsequential. This is not a partisan issue, even if Mr. Revis's fellow Republican board members, Julie Berkowitz of Naperville and Dan Butler of Frankfurt, see the value in this opportunity. Please stop giving oxygen to Mr. Revis on Finance Committee matters, as he clearly has his own agenda that does not align with the best interest of Will County and our residents. There is little in his employment history to support that he has relevant work experience to be tasked with the responsibilities inherited with holding a position on the Finance Committee of this board. Do I have to read them? Those supporting this bond issue will be acting as responsible stewards for the Forest Preserve District and all of Will County.
Christina attached a copy of the Tribune article. Do you want us to read that or no? Okay.
Thank you. This is from Leverett Morgan. I am opposed to the limited obligation tax bond. Will County taxes have made a huge increase in the past few years, along with the cost of living. Lowering property taxes would promote greater fairness in the tax system by reducing the burden on those who can at least afford it. High property taxes can place a significant burden on homeowners, particularly those with fixed incomes or low-income households. High property taxes can discourage businesses from investing in Will County or expanding their operations. This one's from Werner Zolgler of Naperville. I am totally opposed to any tax increase and spending increases of the Will County Forest Preserve budget and will reflect that in my vote in the next election. Thank you, Mark Revis and Raquel Mitchell, for looking out for me. This is from the Adamsons. I am opposed to the 50 million bond plan. We have a debt crisis in Washington. We have a debt crisis pension obligations in Illinois, and we already have to close to, if not the highest property taxes in country. The weary taxpayer needs some relief. It is well past time that we get government spending under control and deal with the debt problems. When I add up all the taxes I pay, it comes to about 60% of my annual expenditures. Don't you think that's enough? This is from George Zito. Hello, my name is George Zito. I have been a resident of Bolingbrook since 2003. This message is intended for the June 13th meeting, and I need to voice to you that I am very much opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds. Property taxes in Bolingbrook are out of control, and I am already are out of control, and the already 20% tax hike since 2022 is killing the middle-class working families. The spending needs to be capped before it put more Bolingbrook families out of their homes. Please start looking out for the little people that make this community what it is. I appreciate your time and hope you do what's best for the residents of Bolingbrook. This is from Maria Makowski. Good morning. The taxes we pay in Illinois and Will County are overwhelming. Stop spending our money. I'm 24 years Will County resident, and I say no to $50 million general obligation limited tax bonds at the Forest Preserve District of Will County. Please respect the residents' voice. This is from Mark Wright. I oppose the $50 million tax spend. Please vote no to the use of money. This is from Brian Brown. Please stop taxing us out of our homes. I lived in Illinois all 52 years of my life and looks like we may need to leave. Stop this out of control spending. Spend only what we have, balance budgets as we all do at home. I know it is a disease of the government in Illinois, but it has to stop. This is from Stephen Ramsick of Plainfield. Dear Will County Forest Reserve Board, I am a resident of Will County and would like to express my support for the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds not to exceed $50 million. This is from Ernest Knight of Plainfield. I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds. Elberlardo Diaz. I am a resident of Plainfield. I am opposed to the proposed tax levy for the Will County Forest Preserve District. Our resources can no longer support the increased demands by our public taxing agencies. We need relief, not additional financial burdens. I recommend the WCFPD lobby Springfield for help. This is from Sherry Mock. I oppose the Forest Preserve bond, lower our taxes. The next is from Laura Rudiger. I am opposed to the Forest Preserve tax. You are literally driving people out of Will County with the high taxes. I own my own business and hear from people every day that we have had it with the high taxes. So many clients moving out of the state because of the cost of living. From Mary Katz of Aurora. Please, I'm opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds. I can no longer fund these taxes from these bonds and ask that it stop. I don't want to move out of Will County, but necessary if this project goes through. This is from Phil Lucina. Tomorrow you will be meeting to discuss a significant bond for Will County Forest Preserves. It is my understanding that this bond's payments will be funded by incremental tax assessments. As a Will County resident, I am not in favor of any actions that will do anything that results in incremental tax burden to residents. Tax increases this year have already put a significant burden on the Will County residents. As a side note, I question if anyone representing our county has any business acumen. Don't we have a capital improvement fund to pay for future maintenance and improvements? Shouldn't we run our government as a business instead of as a bottomless pit of money financed by taxpayers? If you want to make improvements, where can you allocate money from current unnecessary or less important projects? Why has poor management and wasteful spending become the liability of taxpayers? Is there no such thing as a balanced budget? Too often, these types of topics have become partisan issues. Decisions in support of these decisions are decided along party lines, regardless of merit, to the constituents you are obligated to represent. If you want to improve our forest preserves, figure out a way to do it within the budget you have. That's what everyone else has to do with today's environment. This is from Carol Toper, sent from my iPhone. I am opposed to any new bonds being issued specifically for forest preserve. Out of control inflation and government spending are imposing financial hardships on me and many more constituents. Stop. I do not want to lose my home because of extraordinarily very, very high real estate tax. This is from Saeed Khalid Rahman. This is to register my dissent and I oppose to, and following is my comment for the public hearing. My comments are intended for the June 13th meeting and that I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds. Any hike in property taxes is unacceptable. I have suffered 18 to 25% property tax hike in my 2023 tax bill. This is from Mary Dunwellis. On June 13th, 2024, you are having a meeting regarding this issue. We are a retired couple and I am handicapped, confined to a wheelchair. This 50 million tax bond is no benefit to us. It is hard enough to eke out what little we earn in retirement. Raising our taxes is pushing what little income we do get lower. If our taxes go any higher, we will be going to have to move out of Illinois where we both grew up. Montana is looking better and better as we can both afford to live there. Why does Illinois have to tax us to death? This is just frivolous excuse to add more reasons to overtax us again. We are both totally against this bond you are considering on June 13th. For once, do the right thing for your elders of your community. Vote this bond down. Thank you. This is from Sherry Rakowski of Joliet. This is for the June 13th meeting. I am opposed to the new $50 million of new spending that the taxpayers will have to pay off through taxes. I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds. I cannot afford this. I can barely afford my taxes now. I have been living in my home for 22 years and my house taxes keep going up and up. This is from David Nelson of Naperville. I am opposing the $50 million general obligated limited tax bonds at the Will County Forest Reserve. This is from Jean Nelson. I am opposed to this excessive spending. This is from Edward Brophy of Moni. Absolutely not. I just paid the first installment of my property tax bill, which went up $1,000 in the past year. I cannot continue to do this. You will force my wife and I to sell our house and leave the state. If this is what you want, do it. This is Joe Jamarco of Bolingbrook. Forest Reserve Commissioners, please accept this comment as my public support for the passing of Ordinance 667. As an avid bike rider and triathlete, I am a regular user of our county forest reserve trails, including most recently this morning. The ability to regularly access our forest preserves and see them maintained and improved greatly impacts my enjoyment of our community, and it is a crucial amenity that improves our property values. The Forest Preserve Board has the opportunity to continue to build upon past successes in its operation with the passage of Ordinance 667, while having no impact on the debt levy. Please seize this opportunity for the betterment of our forest preserves and support Ordinance 667. I'll do this one. Maybe I'll do the next. This is from T. Sippen. In regards to the $50 million bond issue, I vote yes. The other commenters stating they vote no for a tax increase have been lied to. When a commissioner that doesn't know anything about being an adult is pushing an agenda, it makes me sick. Mark Revis has made it very clear that if the Forest Reserve or Will County would do what is good for him and his white buddies, he would support it, mainly a big priced golf course. Of course, he doesn't support free programming and outdoor education for the people of Will County. He wants what is good for him. A high-priced golf course for his habits and sole beneficial for the people like him. The bond issue will benefit the people of Will County that need it. Clean air, clean water is what is good for physical and mental health of the people. Board members standing on the forest preserve and claiming to speak for the residents of Will County is BS. Vote for yourself, not for your party, not for the bullying. Do the right thing and keep the forest preserve moving in the right direction. Mark R. is seeking out people outside of his district and telling lies. This is a bold underline, not a tax hike. This is responsible debt collection and making sure that the people of Will County get what they need now and for the future. What would you like in place of the 1,200 acres of green spaces? Warehouses? How does that benefit you or the citizens of Will? He clearly wants a golf course and only things that benefit him. This is it, people. Last chance at continuing to secure open space and benefit bold, underlined, capitalized, your citizens of Will County.
We are in the home stretch, 9 left. Oops, there we go. Sure, had you read this one too. Jennifer Marr. My name is Jennifer. I'm a resident of Joliet, a Will County taxpayer. I am writing to wholeheartedly support the proposed $50 million bond issue for capital improvements. The Forest Preserve District is a valuable part of our community. The land that has been dedicated as natural areas for our county is a great asset. Not only does it protect the plants and animals, it aids in the wellness of people in the community. Will County is rapidly growing. This bond will help protect and expand natural areas before they are parceled away into more warehouses and housing developments. Once that land is altered or gone, the ability to connect natural areas and trails into greenways will be lost. Your organization has a reputation of being fiscally responsible. I appreciate that you can grow our community through this bond while still reducing my taxes. I understand that you will reduce taxes in the upcoming years if the bond doesn't pass. However, your forward thinking and ability to plan is worth the small amount of tax savings I would be letting go in order to help support the capital improvement bond funding projects in our county. Jennifer. This is from Saud Gazanfer. Dear Commissioners, I am writing to express my strong support for the passage of Ordinance 667. As a regular user of our county forest preserve trails, I greatly appreciate the access and enjoyment these preserves provide. Their maintenance and continual improvement significantly enhances our community and contributes positively to our property values. The board has a valuable opportunity to build on its past successes by passing Ordinance 667, which will further benefit our forest preserve without affecting the debt levy. I urge you to take advantage of this opportunity for the betterment of our community. Thank you for your consideration. This is from Kaija Sufi. I am writing to express my strong support for the passage of Ordinance 667. As a regular user of our county forest preserve trails, I greatly appreciate the access and enjoyment these preserves provide. Their maintenance and continual improvement significantly enhances our community and contributes positively to our property values. The board has a valuable opportunity to build on its past success by passing Ordinance 667, which will further benefit our forest preserve without affecting the debt levy. I urge you to take advantage of this opportunity for the betterment of our community. Thank you for your consideration. Otis Gatelin. Hello, my name is Otis Gatelin, and I am a big fan of the Will County Forest Preserve, and I hope the Will County Board votes yes for the $50 million proposal to expand the bike, hiking, and walking trails. I also support this bond to have the county acquire more land for the Will County Forest Preserve. This is from Val Balkawiak. As a taxpayer whose property taxes went up so high, I am opposed to the issuance of general obligation limited tax bonds. This spending is out of control. I am a senior citizen who is affected by inflation, and this would add more burden on my finances. Patrick Cronin. Enough is enough. We are being taxed out of our homes, and speaking for my wife and myself, I oppose this. cost for everything has gone up more than my income, and I am sure most people's incomes. Instead of looking to the taxpayers for funding, how about looking for ways to reduce costs? Alice Murray. I just recently read in the paper about your proposed bond issue. I am a proponent of open space acquisition. Study after study supports the importance of open space and accessibility to open space and its positive mental outcomes. Open space is the single solution to mitigating climate change. Grasslands and trees are major carbon sinks while producing the oxygen that we breathe. Nature preserves diminish flood events, and trees lower wind speeds. The other day I was at Whalen Lake well, it's debatable. The other day I was at Whalen Lake and the trail was so packed. Please give us more spaces like this. I also support that there was a public comment phase for this, but I had no clue. I think you have a silent majority out here that supports this spending. Just use the money thoughtfully and efficiently. I hope this reaches in time. And Linda Ellis, and this is the last one. Higher property taxes, my comment is if a priority to enhance safety or improved living conditions in our community. I say yes if it is an enhancement of aesthetic. That definitely not at this time. Then definitely not at this time. Residents of all financial status want a more stable spending agenda, which does not increase taxes at this time. Thank you for your consideration. Linda Ellis.
All right. Well, thank you, Colleen and Ralph. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here from the public that would like to speak on anything on the agenda. Come on down.
Good morning. My name is Omar, and I live in Romeoville, 79 Sonoma Drive. I've been in Will County since 2005. The last time I was here, I think I read numbers that show how my property taxes have gone from 5,000. Next year, it will be about 10,000. I have just listened from the email sent from the public, and with some errors, I noted 91 opposition to the bonds, 13 in support, and 3 that are considered other, that were personal attacks on Mr. McReeves. I want Mr. McReeves to know that there might not be a lot of support within these walls, but I think there is a lot of support for what you are doing, and I want to thank you for that. In my property taxes for Cook County, they give a list, the debt that is owned by the county and how my property taxes are affected by that debt. So I believe that any kind of borrowing in the long run is going to affect the property taxes. And I showed in the last time how my property taxes have gone from 5 to almost 10,000. I will be retiring soon. And like most of the people who have read, you begin to wonder if you can afford your home in a couple of years from now. And that's a big worry. And that's what I think most of the writers have expressed. 91 against, 13 for, 3 others. So I think you need to ask yourself who you represent. Do you represent the people of Will County, 91 of whom are opposed to this bond, only 13 in favor, and 3 who attack Mr. McReeves. And the question you need to ask yourself, we want to improve the facilities, but for whom are you improving them? Are you improving them for those of us who have been here for almost 20 years, who will be thrown out of our homes, or for those who are coming after we leave? That's something that you need to consider. If you keep increasing our property taxes and we are sent out of our homes, then whatever improvement you bring is not for us anymore. will be out of our homes. It will be for those who are coming in. So if what we have right now, we are able to manage it. Somebody said he just went and he ran on a trade good. That means we have something that we are working on right now. If it is good, let's keep it. Why do we keep going up, up, up? I mean, if the taxes keep going up, some of us are going to have to lose our homes. And so the improvement is for other people, not for us anymore. And I think that would be unfair. So please consider not to increase our taxes. The more taxes, you throw us away, those of us who have invested in our homes. And there are two owners. There are some people who invest, they come, they buy, after a few years, they sell. There are some people who come, they need to occupy their home for the rest of their lives. So if you tag property values to those people who sell and the sale price determine the value of the property, that's a problem that you need to look at because the homes depreciate with time. So looking at just the sale prices to peg the value of the home is actually not the right way to value the homes. Because if somebody wants to sell their home, they know they have to remodel. To my home that is 20 years old, even if it has the same room, the same space, the same bathroom, it is not as valuable as somebody who sold their home maybe after living there for 2-3 years. So please consider for us, the ordinary people, the taxes are getting up and it's too much for us.
Excuse me, can I ask him 2 questions?
Thank you.
All right, anyone else from the public? All right, then we'll move on to the Finance Committee, Commissioner Richmond.
Good morning, everyone. First item up on the Finance Committee is the schedule of bills in the amount of $1,309,383.90, and I so move.
Previous.
I chipped.
We need a roll call as some new members walked in.
Dean Slotman. Van Dyne. Ogalla. Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Balich. Richmond.
Yes.
Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis.
Yes.
Mitchell, yes. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Trainier. President Parker. 18.
18 approved. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right.
We have 2 items up under new business. The first item up is the approval of ordinance number 667, authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $50 million general obligation limited tax bonds for the Forest Preserve District of Will County, Illinois. And I so move.
All right.
I'd like to also make a statement too then.
Okay, so who do you, all right, do you have, who made the motion and second? Okay, all right. Now it'll be up for discussion. Jim?
Do you mind if I go first? So what I'm going to try and do is recap what we discussed last week. For those who may not have been here or haven't heard or that. I don't know. The question isn't, are we raising taxes? The question is how low are we going to try and lower the taxes? And if I hope I have all the numbers correct, Ralph, I'm trying to go off of my memory. I believe it's a $300,000 home today would be $116 a year in assessed tax for property tax. That'd be the portion. If we move forward with a $50 million bond, it drops down to about $96, so about a $20 reduction. Now, we could go even lower by doing 0, which would bring us down to about $85. So roughly, you're talking about lowering your tax bill $1 more per month if we try and amortize it over a year. But let's stick with that. So we're looking to lower taxes from the portion of your Forest Preserve District on your tax bill $20, and we could lower it $32 roughly. Now, when I take a look, I don't want to speak in generalities. I'm going to speak specific to my house. My house represents 1.4635% of my property tax bill. The balance of it is 98.5% roughly of all the other taxing bodies. Of that 98.5%, 67% comes from the school districts, the grade school district, the high school district, and the junior college. So 31% comes from all the other taxing bodies. The Forest Preserve District represents a very small portion, roughly 1.5% of my tax bill. Now, can $12 make a difference to somebody in the 300? Absolutely. The question comes down to is this kind of effort and pressure needs to be put on those 98.5% of the other taxing bodies, because I'll have to bet the people that have the $1,000 and $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 tax increases, a bulk of that has come from other taxing bodies, and probably a majority of that from the school districts. Now, I'm not going to make assumptions, so everybody should take their tax bills out for the past 10 years and do a little bit of financial analysis on where these are coming from and start to raise those questions. I'm not disputing the fact that property taxes in Illinois are out of control. This is one of those lists that we don't want to be on number 1 or number 2, but we always seem to be as one of the highest property taxing states in the country. It would be nice if we could turn that around and be like at the bottom of the list, because that would make it where more people want to come and live in Illinois as opposed to leaving. I forget the statistic, but U-Haul, we're one of the top states of people using U-Hauls to move out of the state. So I just wanted to just kind of recap where we're at and try and give a level set to everybody, because I feel that's my responsibility as a board member. So that's all I had. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Butler.
Okay, so I just want to read something, and I'm only reading this because I believe in the constitutional republic, and the minority voice has to have their voice heard. And since Mr. Balich isn't here, he asked me to read this. Taking the easy way of a backdoor referendum instead of doing the right thing, which is asking the people with a referendum, is wrong. There, I said it. Okay, I'd like to make a statement here. Obviously I am in support of this. I listened to all these letters, and if one of those letters would have said, I had $1,000 tax increase, and $15 of it went towards the Forest Preserve, and I just can't see that happening. It's going to destroy my budget. I might have been a little bit more moved, but the fact that they're talking about $50 million and $1,000 increase, I'm not sure that they really understand what portion of their tax bill is actually going to the Forest Preserve. And I do believe that a lot of these people are not looking at accurate numbers. Not one of them said, out of my increase, $15 has gone towards the Forest Preserve, because that sounds ridiculous. Everybody uses the Forest Preserve at one time or another. And I just think that it was disingenuous the way this thing was proposed to the public.
Thank you. Mr. Revis.
Oh, I'm on. Member Richmond, or Chair Richmond of the Finance Committee, said the question isn't, how much we're increasing taxes, but it's how low we can go with taxes. Since the past 3 meetings, this started, we got 45 comments the first time. What this is all about, 45 comments in opposition the first time, about 180 comments in opposition at our public hearing, and about 90 public comments today, totaling for 315. Were they unclear? Seems pretty clear to me. They want us to go as low as possible with their taxes. If that message wasn't relayed through their emails, I don't know how else they can relay it. They were pretty clear. They were on message. They tried to stick to the details, but they don't want more obligations on their property tax bill, and that's what this is. Ralph, I know we spoke last week. I don't know if we can, if I can ask you a couple questions now, but is this going to cost us $50 million or will it cost us more money?
It's $50 million plus interest because you pay them off over time.
Okay, and so we pay interest over 20 years?
If it's a 20-year bond, yes.
And it's likely this will be a 20-year bond?
Yes.
And so because we have to pay interest over 20 years, it's probably going to cost more. That is likely, or what will our interest rate be on this bond?
Well, we don't have that set yet because the bond has not been developed, but in the bond ordinance, that the parameters ordinance in front of you, there's a limit or a maximum not to exceed 5.5%.
Okay, and assuming that we stick with what we've been doing and it's 5%, that would cost us about $30 million in additional interest on top of this $50 million principal, totaling the cost to about $80 million.
Well, that's your math, not mine.
I punched it into a loan calculator with the figure of 5% on 50 million over the course of 20 years, and it's spat out $79.1 million as a total cost. That would be how we calculate it, though.
Well, that would be, yes, there's other ways in which those bonds can also be paid off or those, but yeah, we'll just use your number for your example.
But I don't think it's just my number. I think this is what the math is. If it's 5% on $50 million.
If it's 4%, it's less.
Okay, but you have
If it's
indicated.
5.5%, it's more.
Yeah.
So make your argument with your number.
Well, I'm trying to understand what we can expect this interest rate to be because our job as this forest
Not to
preserve.
exceed 5.5%.
Okay, so it could be more than the 80 million. It's
Now,
likely.
it could be because if you used 5% and it's not to exceed 5.5, that 0.5% would increase that interest cost. That is correct.
Okay,
And
so
that's the trust that you're putting into the officers of the board through this ordinance. This ordinance does not issue the bond. It gives authority to issue the bond.
well, with all due respect, since we're talking about trust, one side is talking about the true cost of the bond and the other side is advertising it as $9. So which one is it? Is it the 80 million or is it the $9? It's actually $80 million. And I'm being told I'm being disingenuous and mischaracterizing it to the people. I'm the only one talking about the real cost of it. So we have to pay this back over 20 years. We have to pay interest. We have a public opinion poll that shows that people are against property taxes in Will County. We've had 315 emails in opposition. We've had great speakers that come and take time out of their workday to articulate their position. I can't believe how we're going to make a decision counter to that, what the people want, because we don't think they understand it right. Oh, listen here, you silly taxpayer. You don't get how this works. You don't understand how the bond works because we make it confusing and we say we're selling the bond like we're making some sort of revenue from it, like we're earning money. This is a debt that we're taking out. Anyway, thanks for your time. Sorry to, draw this out, but people need to know the truth. And I feel that they have learned it through this. So thanks.
All right. Mr. Pretzel.
Thank you very much. I just want to start by saying I really appreciated Commissioner Richmond's comment, and I echo everything that you said. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I can't help but to wonder, out of the hundreds of people that wrote emails, how many of them show up to vote in the consolidated election where more than 70% of their tax bill is decided, especially those school board elections. And I'd love to see this kind of energy in the school board levy vote. But my comments are, can you please just remind us on the average price of a home in Will County is just over 300,000?
Yeah, in 2024, based on the figures that I saw, in 2023, it was about $323,000.
And on a $323,000 home, what is the Forest Preserve District portion of their tax bill?
Slightly higher than the 116, which was the 300. I would say it's proportional. You'd probably be talking about $120.
And if we pass ordinance 667 today for $50 million, what would their tax bill be, the Forest Preserve District portion of their tax bill in 2025?
It would drop down to about $100 or a little bit less.
So is that an increase or a decrease to the line item for Forest Preserve?
It's a decrease.
So would we be raising or lowering the Forest Preserve portion of their tax bill?
Lowering.
So would their tax bill go up or down?
Down.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
And that's why I'll be supporting this, because it's not in fact a tax increase.
Mhm.
So if we pass ordinance 667 today, would you be more likely or less likely over the next 3, 4, 5 years to ask us to increase the levy?
Less likely.
How
Yeah.
come?
Well, because you would have the capital resources, you would have funded the capital improvement program that was laid out and for the next 5 to 7 years.
So you'd be less likely to ask us to increase the levy next year, the year after that, the year after that, maybe even 5, 6 years down the road.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we don't fund the capital improvement program until it's necessary to do so. So because all of the projects are currently obligated and the funds are obligated and expected to be expended within the next 18 to 24 months, now would be the time to initiate additional projects. And because projects take, for us, sometimes 3 to 4 years to come to fruition once you start the engineering and the planning work, it just takes time to get to there. But all along, you're accruing costs for those projects in engineering or planning expenses or things of that nature.
So for the gentleman that came and spoke and people that might be listening online today, you can tell them that this would not only lower their taxes will not only go down next year, but we're less likely to ask for an increase for the next several years.
Correct. And I think historically, if you looked over the last 10 years, we have every year we have lowered our operating levy as well. Now, that doesn't mean less dollars were necessarily collected because the EAV increased, but the levy for that individual would have decreased.
All right, well, thank you.
All right, thanks, Frankie. Sherry Williams.
Thank you. I've heard that the number of Will County residents that emailed us in were over 300, and I appreciate that. I love public engagement. However, those emails did not seem to come but from one side of the county. We do represent a wide, very vast county, as one of the ladies said earlier. This is a big county. We didn't hear from those other people. As if we're going to represent our constituents, those are our constituents too. So I have to assume that if they were not as engaged, either they didn't know about it or they're fine with the proposal as it stands. So if we're going to say we're representing constituents of Will County, then we need to actually realistically represent all of those constituents. I am from my district. I didn't hear any emails read from District 5. So I have to assume, and I've talked to a few people, and of course, nobody likes taxes. I don't like taxes. I'm paying these same taxes too. And I am a senior and I am on a fixed income. So it probably hits me a little bit harder than a lot of other people. However, I do enjoy the amenities and I appreciate what's happening. But if we're going to say we are representing the citizens and residents of Will County, then we need to be representing all of them and not just a portion. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Mueller.
Thank you, President Parker. I partly was going to echo what Sherry Williams just said. We have 696,000 residents in this county. I'm really glad that we have heard from a lot of them, but we also have the other ones we need to consider in these decisions. I also wanted to remind folks that according to the Will County Center for Economic Development, Will County is the #1 job creator in the state of Illinois. We are the #1 in single-family housing builds, which means building permits for single-family homes in our county. We are #1 in industrial development. So I appreciate the concerns folks have about their finances and things like that. But I want to make sure that we're putting Will County in the right frame. We're actually #1 in a lot of ways in this state. And our forest preserves deserve to have all the support we can possibly give them, because all that #1 status is going to bring more people. And more people means we need more space. We need more open land for people to enjoy and, projects to work on and just being out one with nature. So that I'm going to be supporting this. I just wanted to remind folks that we're #1 in a lot of ways. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, moving on to Katie Dean Schlattman.
Thank you, President Parker. So I don't really have much more to add than I've heard already, but I do want to make it clear that I'm happy that we have citizens engagement and everything from residents. But again, to speak to Member Williams, it did seem like it was very much leaning in just one area. And when you go across the county, I see a lot of people who use the forest preserves, love the forest preserve. And I actually feel it's one of the areas in the county that is probably the most frugal with how they spend money for the residents of the county. I'm sad to think that this is the one place that we have members going out to engage for, saying that we are going to be increasing their taxes when we just, had a huge budget increase and there wasn't nearly as much engagement there. Again, to speak to Member Pretzel, our consolidated elections, our school boards, please, for those listening online, let's go to those school board meetings and tell them that we don't want, our taxes going up there. I do wish that because this has become such a hot button issue that it could have, say, maybe gone to a referendum, but we are elected to make those decisions for the people. And I've gone back and forth with this because I am absolutely against any tax increase right now, any increased spending. I understand that the citizens of the county, of the state, are fully burdened. But I also know how much, when I was fully burdened, still am fully burdened, I've used the forest preserve, especially with 3 young children. And as a mother, as a wife, it was great to have that outdoor space to just take my kids to for a while, to run around and get off some energy when I didn't have a ton of money to take them to, some grand event. And so many good things from there. So the education, like I said, I've gone back and forth, but I believe I'm going to support this simply because the Forest Preserve does an amazing job. And I think maybe as representatives, we can maybe try to do better with helping people understand what this means. And then, Ralph, I have a question because, I'm trying to understand how. So when we are issued the bond, are we able to take that and invest it at all with what we're not using and get a percentage back on it?
Yes, yes, we are.
So that would offset some of the interest that we would be acquiring, which I know is something that wasn't spoken to yet.
Right. It would increase the value of the entire program. So it would, you issued $50 million, maybe by the time you were done, you had 60 over the course of over that spend. So yeah, it allows you to expand the program or at least keep pace with inflation.
Okay, well, thank you. That's informative. And I think people should be aware of that as well if we're speaking, for the truth of what we're doing. So that's all.
Okay, thank you. Julie Berkowitz.
Thank you, President Parker. So this whole topic of a bond issuance has come around in a manner that's regretfully cast a negative image on the forest preserve. Commissioner Revis and Commissioner Mitchell did seem to focus on the northern part of the county and actually a district that they don't sit in, which is mine. And it's shocking that we were not able to have a real conversation and to direct this on a social media post, I feel is not professional, and I don't care to engage that way. I have received a lot of calls from constituents in my district and had lengthy conversations with them. And they did not hear or receive the facts. So when we're talking about the cost to the taxpayer, one of the things people don't realize is what are the actual costs to our everyday life and the quality of our life? How does the forest preserve impact that? And in my family, we use our forest preserves and our parks all the time. As a Nature Foundation director, I volunteer all the time, and I use these open spaces for recreation. So how does the accessibility and the resources we have within our communities, how does that help me financially? I know it helps my mental health. I see thousands of people at our forest preserves and our parks over the week. If you go to Wayland Lake at any given time, there are hundreds of people there. Check it out. I invite these other board members to check it out. Go on out, just introduce yourself to people, because people appreciate our open spaces. I've shared my personal experience with many of these people who have called me. For example, I can walk out of my house because of the open spaces we have. I can walk out of my house and I can go on a 10-mile hike and never, ever have to enter a highly congested area or encounter high traffic. When our troop was training for Philmont, before the Forest Preserve had acquired Wayland Lake, expanded that trail towards Hidden Oaks, before that period of time, in order for us to train to go to Philmont, we would have to put our crew in the car with all our gear. We would have to drive over to Fermilab, park our cars, and do our 25-mile hike. We did that over the years. When our Forest Preserve worked in tangent with DuPage County, and we opened up those trails, and we improved that site, and we made Wayland Lake possible, the last crew we took to Philmont, we walked out of our front door with our backpacks, and we went on a 25-mile hike, and we never had to get in the car. And that's a memory that I'll take to my dying day. Joy, complete joy. So why is that important? Wow, today, $4 a gallon of gas? That's a cost. So the fact that you can walk out of your house and enjoy the great outdoors provide positive mental health at a time when we really need that peace of mind. To me, that's priceless, but it does matter. But we couldn't have that conversation because a lot of people are not seeing the benefits that our forest preserve is bringing to families, to residents, and to our businesses. Come to our Food Truck Friday tomorrow. I encourage these board members, come and see the families that come to our forest preserve and enjoy them. Grandparents, families from all over the county. And we get families from other counties that come out because we put on incredible events. Our Nature Foundation, we have a dedicated group of people that contribute hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of services because they love and they appreciate the fact that if we did not have these open spaces, our quality of life would go down, they would decrease, and that translates into dollars. That translates into property taxes. That translates into people saying, I'm going to get out of here because this is like living in the city. And that's why we headed out towards Naperville. We wanted open spaces. We enjoyed the peace and quiet and the experience of getting out of the urban environment. So I would just hope that in the future that our county board members will be respectful and let's have a real conversation. Let's give our constituents the opportunity to have an unbiased conversation, because this is just not, your taxes are going up. There's so much more to this. So thank you for allowing me to speak, and I do appreciate everything that our Forest Preserve has done for us. Serving as a commissioner all these years, I've been very impressed by the staff. They are always very responsive to our constituents as well as our board members. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. We have a couple more speakers and then we'll move on. Sherry Newquist.
Thank you. I just want to say that by authorizing the bonds, we are able to complete our capital plan, which for my district means a lot of improvements in some areas that we might not have been able to do otherwise. I don't come from a wealthy or affluent area, and I personally feel that I would be remiss in not voting for this because this really does bring a benefit to my district. And by voting yes on this, I am representing my district. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Cal Mitchell.
Okay, so I'm probably the least foresty person here, but I do kayak along the river. So I do when I get an opportunity, when they let me out of the cave. I'll see the and I've also walked through the, believe it or not, I've done a little walk. So I see the beauty that is Will County Forest Preserve. And I've met a lot of the Will County Forest Preserve staff, and I see how dedicated they are. And that's very impressive to me. And I want to continue that. And I want other people to enjoy that. So my passion isn't necessarily about the Forest Preserve. It's more so about the people who appreciate it. So I want to help them appreciate it and appreciate it more. The problem is that I just think that this bond doesn't have to be done right now, because now is not the time. Anybody would agree, these are crazy times. We don't know what the future may hold. Every day or every day that I pump my gas, or every time rather, that I pump my gas, I'm like, this is insane. Will it go down? I don't know. I hope that it will. Going to the grocery store, off top, it's $70. Walking in, I haven't even gotten a single grocery item, and I already know it's $70, where it used to not be. I haven't even gotten the meat yet. You know what I'm saying? Now, there was some mention about a poll that Commissioner Revis and I commissioned. That poll was done by a professional organization. It was not done in just one person's area. It was done throughout Will County because it was a professional scientific poll. And so I'm just gonna state that. Now, I heard a lot of, questioning about where the constituents were, or whatever. They were from one area, not from another. You guys are very vocal. When it comes to things that you want to do and that you really support, you get your people out from District 5, District 6, everywhere. You get your people out. And if you thought that this was important to do, this bond, then you would have gotten your people out to say, yes, we support this bond. Don't complain because we got our people out from our side. And by the way, I'm not exactly sure that we know exactly who was from where, because there were people who mentioned that I was from Plainfield, or I'm from Romeoville, or I'm from Bolingbrook, but some people didn't say where they were from at all. So that's whatever. Okay. Also, this is another thing that I heard from my colleagues. Oh, well, it's not as much as the school board. So is that what we're doing now? We're voting, we can vote for this because, well, it's not as much as the school board. Excuse me, when we pay property taxes, it's the school board, it's the park district, it's the fire district, it's the villages and cities, it's everybody. So we're adding on. That's all we're doing. And each board said, oh, it's just $1 more. It's just 50 cents more. It's just a latte. It's just a cup of coffee. Every board said that when they went to increase our taxes. Now, another thing is, oh, we're not increasing the taxes. We're lowering. No, this is not lowering the taxes. Our taxes were going to decrease because we retired some bonds. So they were going to go down. Now, if we do a $50 million bond, it's not going to go down as much. So we want to fight over that. So now instead of the bond going down, or we're gonna save instead of, and oh, it's only going to be $1 a month. Excuse me, I want my dollar. Also, we're increasing our trails. We're buying more stuff. We're doing this and that. Well, how about we look at what we have right now and take care of those things that we can take care of right now? How about, because gas is like $4 a gallon, how about we give our employees a raise at the Forest Preserve so they can afford to buy a tank of freaking gas? How about that? How about focusing on that? You love the Forest Preserve and you love the employees so much. What about them? And how many of you are willing, since it's just $1, how many of you are willing to pay $1 a month to use the Forest Preserve properties? You want to pay $1 a month? Okay, well then they want fees. Then you want to pay an extra $1 in fees. You can. I'll be happy for you too. But there are some people who can't. And that's the problem. And you don't respect them. And with that, I'm done.
All right then. Micah Freeman.
Thank you. So I appreciate this great book today. It has come in quite handy. Our annual comprehensive financial report, because in it, it states that in 2023, the number of visitors to the 6 facilities increased by 42.33%. And that does not include the attendance numbers of the tens of thousands of individuals that visit our preserves but do not register for any particular activities during the year, such as hiking, bird watching, horseback riding, sledding, or designated trails and photography. It also reminds me that we have 83 forest preserves and 134 miles of trail. So without this bond, I would like to ask Ralph, what does the 83 forest preserves look like?
They look the same as today.
So there would be no improvements to those trails.
No.
So I am in support of this because I have to look to the future, and I don't want to see our trails deteriorate over the next few years, because I do understand that there was a 42.33% increase, and that wasn't including the tens of thousands that didn't register. We also have had an increase in our population by 2.46%. People during COVID, I think, realized that our nature preserves, our outdoors is really important, because you can go, you can walk, you can be with families, you can get away and just look at the trees, listen to the birds, get some exercise. And you don't have to worry about anybody coughing on you or, you know, sweating all over the machines or whatever. And I know that in the future, I would hope that Lake Renwick would be one of those areas that we are considering purchasing some land and making it a better place. And that is in Plainfield. And it is something that I have been pushing for. And without the money, could we possibly purchase land?
There are ways that we would be able to purchase small parcels. There are still grants available. However, you have to come up with the local match to that grant. And because our dollars would be limited, it would limit the scale of the property in question.
So the possibility of a fishing area would be gone.
Probably, yeah, too big.
So that is my looking at the long term. And I have visions for Plainfield to have a fishing area because they don't have one. So like I said, I am in favor of this.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Ogala.
I just wanted to ask a question, Ralph. In the past, has the Forest Preserve ever paid bonds off early due to having any excess money, saying cash reserves or anything like that?
There have been times when that is done, and it depends on how the bonds are sold initially. And I think that's all part of what the discussions that would follow would be as we put together a proposal for consideration of the treasurer and the president.
Okay, because if we have that option, that is a great
Sure.
choice when we're thinking about doing these bonds.
Yeah, and we do have some of those that are on our books right now. We have others where we did not have that.
Right, I did remember that we had done it in the past, so those are options that a lot of the new people on the board would never have even heard of, so I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Logan?
Can we call a question, please?
There's one more person who's has to be heard from first.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. Good, Costa, go ahead.
Well, he did call the question, but I did just want to make one additional comment in support for this. I really do appreciate finance chair's opening of this. There's the way that this district has fiscally managed our dollars, I think, is a model that school board units, for example, could take in the way that government is managed. Today, we received our auditor's report, and they provided an unmodified, clean opinion. This is the highest rating that auditors could give, could give us, and has specifically stated that as far as this district's long-term financial planning, we have continued to budget conservatively to achieve healthy fund reserves. And the fact that, in this report, we drew down and retired $12 million in these general obligation bonds. We're also set to retire another 60% of those bonds this year. Frank, Ralph and his team would not have presented this to us if they weren't really thinking ahead and thinking into the future. And for the 17 years that I've lived in Will County, for about 15 of those years, I didn't have a county forest preserve in my district in Bolingbrook, and I do now, and I'm happy to contribute to that, and to see the Hidden Lakes Nature Preserve and the trail on Weber, be included in this capital improvement plan that we have in front of us. So I will be supporting this. I hope that, this does pass and move forward. I do believe that this is just the approval for us to have access to the $50 million. Ralph and his team will make those determinations, and I trust those determinations on when to actually issue those bonds when the timing is right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Vince, would you like to make a motion again to, no, it's okay.
I had something, a follow-up question.
Okay.
I had a follow-up question. I was recognized. He said he didn't.
He already spoke.
Well, then they came back to you and you said you were done. And then I said I had a question. Okay. I was waiting for recognition from the president. A couple of the comments made me realize I didn't ask a question. Ralph, is this an optional bond? No, it's a question. It's an optional.
Anytime you issue a bond, you have an option to or not to.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking.
So it's discretionary. So what is the bill if we don't do this optional action for the individual $300,000 home? What would be their bill?
$84.
Okay. So if we do take this action, what would be the bill on that same $300,000 home?
$95.
Okay. Is 95 higher than 84?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so then why do we get to call it a decrease? If it's an optional action, and if we take the action, the bill would be higher than what it would be if we didn't. Why is that a decrease? Isn't that an increase?
Because today they're paying 116.
Okay. I think this is just clever marketing, but
Thank you.
it's an increase, folks.
Thank you. I do have a question. Is 95 less than 116?
Yes, President.
And the $50 million, if we have an option to do 10 million.
Yes.
We have an option, just because this may pass or may not pass. If it does pass, it doesn't mean we're going out for 50 million bond. It's just giving us the authority.
The parameters state a not to exceed number. So you can go anywhere from that not to exceed number to 0 if you wanted.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so what are we doing here? We're gonna call, or someone make a motion, call a vote. All right, roll call, please. On business item number 1.
Are you ready? Dean Schlotman. Van Dyne. Ogalla. Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Balich. Richmond. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell, no. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Trainer. President Parker.
Yes.
Motion passes with 16.
All right, motion passes 16-2. All in favor? Or so no? I don't. All right, never mind. All right. Back to Jim. Item number 2.
Okay. Hopefully this goes a little faster. Approval of ordinance number 668, authorizing 1 residential and 2 non-residential license agreements, and I so move.
Motion Revis. Second Revis.
Motion Revis, second was,
Motion.
sorry, motion was second Revis. Roll call, please.
Okay. Dean Schlotman.
Yes.
Van Dyne. Ogalla. Pretzel.
Yes.
Butler. Newquist. Balich. Richmond.
Yes.
Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis.
Yes.
Mitchell, yes. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Trainier. President Parker.
Yes.
18. Motion passed.
18, motion passes. All right, number 3.
Review and approval of budget planning and adoption timetable for 2024, and I so move.
Second, Winfrey. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, our next meeting will be Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024, immediately following the Operations Committee meeting, but no earlier than 9:15 a.m. here at the Will County Office Building in Joliet. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, on to Operations Committee. I know Mr. Van Dyne is not here. And who's the, Frankie, thank you.
First up, under operations business, award of contract in the amount of $182,422.70 to Denler Inc. of Joliet, Illinois for asphalt crack seal and coating. Committee recommendation was 7-0, and I so move.
Second, Schwaben.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next up, number 2, award of contract in the amount of $68,150 to Red Feather Group of Glenview, Illinois for the Riverview Farmstead Barn and Settlement House. Exterior preparation, priming, and staining. Committee recommendation 7-0, and I so move.
Second, Trainier, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Number 3, award of contract in the amount of $907,757.01 to Deconstruction Inc. of Coal City, Illinois for Rock Run Greenway Trail rehabilitation. Committee recommendation was 7-0, and I so move.
All right. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next up, under reports, first, Forest Preserve, 2024 Forest Preserve District of Will County Building and Structures Report, and I so move.
Second.
I don't know if I had, maybe I don't have to move that. Is there any conversation on that, or do I?
No, I don't have anything.
All right, so number 2 on the agenda. Sorry. Lastly, next meeting date is Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024 at 9 a.m. here at the Will County Office Building, 302 North Chicago Street, Joliet, Illinois. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, on to the ad hoc committee. Dean Schlotman.
Madam President, there is nothing to report at this time, so we will just wait until there is.
All right, thank you. I see there is no business, correct? Okay. Onto the reports. Do we have a need for executive session? We do not. No actions following executive session. Are there comments by the public? Any comments by the public? None. Comments by the executive director?
I do have just a couple of quick notes that I wanted to pass along. First off, and Tara beat me to it, but tomorrow, Friday, is Food Truck Friday out at Wallen Lake. We have some nice food trucks, and there is a hospitality tent for the foundation if you attend, and there'll be other things to do there. So that's always a fun time. And then secondly, on Saturday, if you have school-age children or grandchildren and you want to do something fun for a little while, head out to Isle of Lakash for the pollinator party. It's a free event. They believe they also have a food truck there. I'm not sure, so I shouldn't speak what I don't know about. So, but pollinator party, it's from 10 to 2. It's a fun time.
Thank you. Okay, any comments by commissioners? Oh, Mr. Revis.
I would like the record to accurately reflect that we just passed a tax increase. Thank you.
Any other comments by commissioners? Micah.
I hide over here in the corner, can't see me sometimes. I just have to say that Mark Revis and I are the representatives for District 8. And it has been a pleasure working with Mark since we were both elected in 2022. We have helped our residents. We've worked together side by side. We are from different political parties, so we are not always going to agree. But one thing you will not see me do is see me make him feel small or make any of you feel small. Mark has passion. And for that, I applaud him. And this is where we get to ask questions. This is where we get to disagree. This is where we are supposed to feel most comfortable making decisions for our constituents. And although I disagree with Mark, I do applaud him for his views. And they don't have to agree with mine, but I also need to be respectful. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. No appointments or comments by the president? Oh, yes, we do. All right. Yes, we do. Popped up. I just see one. All right. I have a recommendation to hire 2 full-time crew leader positions. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Presentation of awards we already did. And I get a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Second.
Oh, somebody second over there.
All in favor?
All in favor? Meeting adjourned.